Hey, this is Yulia and welcome to my channel. Here I talk all things Canada, learning languages, travel in the world, and much more. Today I'll teach you 25 advanced phrases that you can use in your English exams. It doesn't matter if it's a Duolingo test, if it's IELTS or TOEFL. These phrases will help you score high in your English exams. So if you're interested in learning new and cool phrases for your exams, then keep on watching. The first phrase is the tip of the iceberg, meaning if you have a problem. The tip of the iceberg is when you can only see the tip, but you cannot see the whole problem. For example, you can say, what I'm going through right now is just the tip of the iceberg. I have bigger issues to deal with, like, I don't know, unemployment, my divorce, something like that. So you can just mention that something is a tip of the iceberg, and then you have other stuff to deal with.
And this is all just the tip of the iceberg.
Another phrase that you can use in your speaking or writing parts is to feel under the weather, meaning to feel sick, sad. If, I don't know, you woke up and you're like, oh, I don't have any energy to do stuff, you can say you're feeling under the weather. So an example would be, I'm sorry, I'm calling in sick because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today.
I am just feeling under the weather.
Another interesting phrase to use is a gray area. I personally learned this phrase I think this year. So a gray area, it's something unclear, something that is located between, let's say, black and white. So you have, let's say, rules, you have regulations that look like this, but then you have something that doesn't fall into this one, but also it doesn't fall into that one. So that's what we call a gray area. Downloading music from the internet has always been a gray area. However, many websites offer free music downloads.
It's a grey area, give me that.
To go an extra mile means to do something that you were not asked to, meaning you have your homework, and if you did, I don't know, 5 more exercises, that can be called going an extra mile. For example, Jessica is willing to go an extra mile for her friends, so she can do basically anything for them.
Way to go the extra mile. Your Mima would be proud.
The next phrase is to think outside of the box. That means to think in alternative ways, to think creatively. So if you need to brainstorm something, you can be like, hey, we need to think outside of the box to offer our clients the best services. Meaning you're gonna collaborate with other people, come up with some creative and new ways of solving the problem you have, so your clients or customers are happy.
Well, let's think outside the box, or...
The next phrase will be super helpful when passing your exams, and it's ins and outs. That means to know all the aspects of a thing. For example, you can say, Nina loves computers. She knows all the ins and outs of how they work, meaning she knows everything about computers, and if you ask her to reinstall Windows, she'll most likely know how to do that.
You don't know the ins and outs of our relationship.
To be pressed for time means to be in a hurry or don't have enough time. If we're talking about, I don't know, environmental problems, we can say that we are pressed for time until something bad happens. But we can also use this phrase in a context like, I'm sorry, I'm super pressed for time, I don't have time to chat with you now. So when you don't have time or you have very limited time, you can say, I am pressed for time.
I'm really pressed for time. So where's the key?
The next phrase you've probably heard many times, and it's take something or someone for granted. So basically, when you have something available to you and you're just yeah, it's gonna stay the same forever, my parents, I have them, nothing's gonna happen, that means you take them for granted. So an example here would be losing her father taught her to never take people or relationships for granted. Meaning, people don't last forever, sometimes they die, so don't take people for granted, spend time with them, tell them you love them, and be a nice human being.
Listen, don't ever take life for granted.
The next phrase will be super useful for your speaking parts, and it is to bring something to light. That means to make something previously unknown known. For example, environmental problems should have been brought to light much earlier so we could prevent some major issues. And then you continue and talk about the issues that could have been prevented if the problems were brought to light earlier.
It is my solemn duty to bring to light the sorry history.
An eye-opener. An eye-opener is something that is surprising to you and most likely teaches you something new. So we can say that life in a new country, let's say in Canada, could be an eye-opener for some people, meaning they will learn new things, they will observe how life is different on the other side of the world. So Canada is definitely an eye-opener for people moving from Russia.
Wow, this is such an eye-opener.
And speaking of surprises, come as no surprise, meaning I'm not surprised at all. For example, their divorce comes as no surprise as their relationship has been unstable for the past 2 years. Again, we can say that global warming comes as no surprise because, you know, everything that's done to the environment, to the natural resources that we have, literally zero surprise.
Jim, this is gonna come as no surprise.
The next phrase is used by literally everyone all the time, and it is to make a long story short, and it means to make a long story short. If you wanna express your opinion, if you wanna tell a story, you can always say, long story short, this is how it started, this is how it ended. You can say, Bill met this girl in a college, long story short, they married, they have 5 kids now, and they're waiting for the 6th one. So basically, you skip the whole story, you start with some piece of information, and then you kind of jump into the conclusion.
So long story short, I nailed her.
The next phrase is to ring a bell, meaning to sound familiar. Normally, we would use this phrase in the dialogues. Let's say I'm telling you a story and be like, you know, Anna, does it ring a bell? And you're like, no, not really. And I'm like, Anna, the painter, she lives, I don't know, in Vancouver. And you're like, oh yeah, right. So ring a bell means to sound familiar. If you get a question and you're not sure, it doesn't sound familiar, you can always say that matter, that topic, the question doesn't really ring a bell for me. So you're kind of saying that it doesn't sound familiar, so you're not quite sure about this topic.
Hercules. Why does that name ring a bell?
Another commonly used phrase is to give something a shot, meaning to try something. If you've always wanted to try, I don't know, riding a motorcycle, I can be like, hey, do you wanna ride a bike with me? And you can be, yeah, let's give it a shot, meaning let's try it. You can also use this phrase in your writing, in your speaking parts. If you have a controversial topic and you're thinking about the possible solutions to the problem given, you can be like, we can give a shot to this and that. So basically you're saying you're gonna try, you're gonna attempt, and maybe something good will come out of this.
Okay, just give it a shot.
Another phrase to use is to learn a lesson, and it literally means to learn a lesson from something that happened to you. Normally we would use this phrase towards the kids, you know, when they fall, they have like scratches and bruises. You're like, yeah, you learned your lesson not to run so fast. Or you can always say, my computer crashed and I didn't save any documents. So I've learned my lesson and now I'm saving everything every 10 seconds.
Steve will learn his lesson.
Another useful phrase to use is to have mixed feelings. Again, if you're given a topic, whether it's a controversial one or a hard one, you can say you have mixed feelings. For example, you can say, I have mixed feelings about the vaccination because on the one hand, vaccines might help us with preventing COVID. On the other hand, we don't know much about the consequences that the vaccines might cause. So basically, you're kind of like debating between I like it or I don't.
I know you have mixed feelings about this.
The next phrase we have is on and off, meaning from time to time. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't, meaning I'm doing this on and off. You can say I've been dating this girl on and off, meaning you've been together and then you broke up and then you've been together again and then you broke up again. That means you've been together on and off.
Again, off again, on again, off again.
But if you've been with this girl on and off, I think you have something in common. And the next phrase would be a common ground, meaning you both have something that you like. For example, hunters and environmentalists found a common ground against the new law.
Maybe we can find some common ground that you can bond over.
Another interesting phrase that can be used in your exams to sound more like a native is safe and sound. That means secure, undamaged. Normally we use this phrase when talking about coming somewhere or from somewhere. You can always say I got home safe and sound, meaning no problems, no nothing, like it was super smooth.
Safe and sound.
Okay guys, we're almost done, so please bear with me. The next phrase is to bear something or someone in mind, meaning to think of something or someone. Let's say you're traveling to Canada and I can say, bear in mind that Canada has new policies for international travelers, so you'll need to book a hotel, get your tests, and then go isolate for 2 weeks. So bear in mind means like think of something, think of someone when doing something.
So, just bear in mind, you know.
Another phrase is to keep an eye or to keep a close eye on something. We would use this phrase when talking about people, but you can always say keep an eye on the news because, I don't know, Justin Trudeau is gonna announce some important stuff today. So keep an eye means observe, watch, look after someone or something.
Oh, I'll keep an eye on it.
If you want to talk about something that's gonna happen soon and you're 100% sure, you can say it's just a matter of time or it's just a question of time, meaning something bad's gonna happen or something good's gonna happen, so it's just a matter of time. COVID will be over in 5 years, it's just a matter of time. Or we all gonna die, it's just a question of time. Because we are not immortal and, well, it's gonna happen to us at some point, right? So it's just a question of time.
It's just a matter of time.
Okay, 3 more phrases and we're done. The next phrase is to stand a chance, meaning to have a prospect of success in something. You can say candidate A doesn't stand much chance in the next elections, meaning, I'm not sure if he's gonna win.
I'm not sure I stand a chance.
Another phrase that can be useful when taking an exam is to tell the difference between something or someone. It means literally what it says, to tell the difference between someone or something. If you're not sure about some words or topics, you can be like, I can't tell the difference between recycling and upcycling. They sound kinda familiar. Well, you shouldn't be doing that when taking an exam, but that's how you use this phrase.
Ultron can't tell the difference.
And the last but not the least is the bottom line. So the bottom line is the final result. Again, you can tell a story and be like, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then you can be like, the bottom line is global warming will cause a lot of problems for us, for our kids, for our nature, for the environment. So we need to act ASAP.
Bottom line is, marriage is hard.
And this is it for today. I hope you've learned something new today. If so, you can give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any new videos of mine, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!